I'm not gonna lie, I think my favorite part about this entire experience was the gradual shift in audience energy, because I saw this bitch in theaters, and to go from being open-minded and curious about the film to everybody slowly realizing what we were dealing with and devolving into fits of hysterical laughter and snickers from the audience was just, mwah. But today we have Aggro drift. Hang on, something's missing here. I need to match this more thematically right now. Let me try a little bit. Perfect. Dear Lord, where do we begin with this one? First of all, sorry for the delay in movie reviews. As you can no doubt tell by a video or two recently, got sick. The sickness passed, but then I don't know. Call it sore throat, call it bronchitis, call it what you want. I was constantly coughing. So much so to the point where my throat, my voice was all but gone. And then once my voice finally started to come back, I don't know, I pulled like a muscle or something in my back. That's what 28's like Aggro drift. Let's call it a film. Let's call it an experimental film. Director is a Harmony Korine. A director that I'm unfamiliar with in terms of just the name. This director does have a filmography. While their most recent work was something called Circus Maximus, I think objectively they are most well known for the one film that I think people probably think is A24's only kind of, I don't want to say miss, but it definitely didn't do it for a lot of people, Spring Breakers. I know this movie was very polarizing when it came out and people had very strong opinions about it, just in general. In terms of cast, really you can't, let's just say that our main guy, the world's greatest assassin, Jordi Mola. The man looks handsome when he's not shrouded in infrared, or I guess thermal vision, or whatever you want to call it. Most well known for the character of Santana or Santana in Riddick, as well as Johnny from Bad Boys 2. I put Travis Scott, LOL, that'll help the movie. I saw this trailer with a live audience 3, maybe 4 times, and the biggest crowd reaction, really it was just 2 main names, but when it showed the second name, it just said, is Travis Scott. The audience always had a verbal reaction, you know? You're probably thinking, what the hell is this movie? What is this all about? Admittedly, from a creativity standpoint, this film was intriguing in its visual premise, which is that the whole movie, this is the whole gimmick. I'll call it a gimmick now because, quite frankly, I believe that's what it is. The whole movie is shot so that it's all in infrared, just like heat vision. It's a movie about an assassin in, I think, Miami? I'm almost positive he's in Florida. I'm pretty sure it's a Miami assassin. If I just go to Google, right, it says filmmaker Harmony Korine uses infrared photography in a dreamlike portrait of a tormented assassin. Oh boy, the positives first. The potential is here for this film. I personally love it when films try new and experimental ideas, whether it's in narrative, whether it's in execution, characters, the visuals. We've seen, obviously films started in black and white, so we've had black and white, we've had color, we've had films almost entirely shot in night vision, or we've had a whole category that I personally love, if you're motion sick, maybe not so much, found footage films. I personally love found footage, and we've even had films like Unfriended that take place entirely on someone's quote-unquote desktop. I love it when filmmakers try to get creative concepts or new concepts and try to do films in new and interesting ways. Just seeing the trailer, this is no exception. I like the idea. It's an interesting premise. We're in Miami, Florida. Somehow having an assassin in Miami, Florida, which already kind of screams 80s vibes to me, kind of like Scarface type of stuff, all shot at infrared, it tracks for me. From a perspective of pure vibes, it fits. So I do like that aspect of this. And the only other positive I put for this film was that this film is hilarious. I believe the description that I used when I came out of this film was, it's like The Room, but if The Room took place in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. That is the most apt comparison I can make for this. I'll be generous, this piece of art, I guess. That's all the positives I got. In this reporter's not so humble opinion, this film is really bad. This film's not good. I put in my notes, this film feels like B-roll for a music video. Here's the thing, as the film's going, in terms of what like things actually happening in the movie, I think maybe you can get between 5 and 10 minutes of plot and story and progression and footage. Like this would have been a great idea for a short film or even like a music video. Sure, let's put it at that. Travis Scott, when he gets involved, he essentially tries to make it into a music video, kind of. It shambles around following our quote-unquote protagonist as he goes from completing one job to looking to take on one big job. And by the way, I don't give a shit about spoilers in this, so I'm probably gonna talk about whatever. Completes one job in the beginning, and then he goes to pick up the payment, and then he gets offered another job. There's this big muscly guy. He's a big, watch out, he's a big one. Go take him out, this is a job for you. And then it's like him going home to his wife, who, by the way, goddamn. Going home to his wife and kids and just whenever he does speak, he's like waxing philosophical and is often repeating what he says.
An assassin's work is never finished. We go on until there is nothing left.
He's like, oh, I gotta get together a group of 10 men, specifically 10 men, to be able to do this mission. That's what I need right now, is a group of 10 men. Goes to this random boat with a group of people, way more than 10 people, I assume all led by Travis Scott, who I think was trained by him or something, are all just standing around. And like I said, it's B-roll for a music video, because they're just all kind of, they're looking at the camera, they're doing this, they're holding the guns up, they're like grabbing their crotch, I'm glad they're having fun, because we sure weren't. And then he just goes away, doesn't actually involve them at all. They don't come back. They don't. Like he's like, I gotta get this group of 10 people together for this mission, goes and talks to this guy about life on the world's worst like lapel mic or whatever, and then just goes on with his life, and then goes to say hi or bye to his family one more time, and then he decides, oh, you know what, screw the patriarchy or whatever, and he goes back to the boss guy that was going to hire him and just kills him. And then you think, oh, he's getting out of the game, but then he goes to this big guy, basically the guy that's like a Borderlands, like a character, like a Borderlands boss fight, if you're familiar with the game or the IP, and then just goes to have a final elongated showdown with this guy. And that's the movie. This is a movie, I guess. I literally have so many different facets of this movie that I love to talk about, but I do not have the time for it. What little dialogue there is in this, literally either boring and repetitive or hilarious. Literally, he'll show up to get his money, and like the narration, he's like, nobody move a muscle. Nobody move. I want my money. I just want my money. I don't know if you saw my review for Madam Web, but the main villain, Captain ADR from Madam Web, the voice sounds the same, and the delivery and the cadence and tone and everything.
It's just a game. Each person trying to survive.
You have no idea of the torment and torture of dying over and over again.
My princess, your daddy has to go to work.
It's a good thing you had no idea today was the day you were going to die.
Literally, this guy's like, I am the world's greatest assassin. He kills one person at the beginning of the movie. By the end of it, he kills and brutally decapitates a person at the very end. I think there was like one scene where it's the aftermath of him killing people. No, I know he does kill his boss and his boss's subordinate, but like, I don't get world-class master assassin vibes from this guy. He grabs like a pistol and an Uzi and is just slowly like trying to hunt this behemoth down in this mansion, and he's just like moving around, and he'll kind of awkwardly get behind a sofa or a couch, and then he gets up and he moves around again and tries to fuck. It's laughable. I don't know, but the best thing about this, the reason why it's so funny, we're bouncing around here, but if I can try to give the movie credit in a weird way, this movie is like The Room in that, and this is how the only way that it possibly works for me. This film takes itself very seriously. As far as I could tell, it's not going for comedy. It's not going to be played for jokes or whatever. It's supposed to be some like gangster shit, serious, tormented assassin, hardcore Miami vibes, violent, infrared. But the lines that are delivered in this movie are unironically hilarious. It's like The Room.
I could not go on without you, Lisa.
You're scaring me.
You are lying. I never hit you. You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
That combination is hilarious, and that's what this is. There are lines in this movie that are hilarious, but in a very ironic way. There's literally a sequence where it cuts away from our assassin back to the main villain. The scene is like 2 minutes of him dancing with these like half-naked women, and he's just like humping the air, and he's like, yeah, dance bitches, dance bitches, dance, yeah, dance bitches. And that's the dialogue. There's no exaggeration here. You could have just made a short film out of this. When it's not hilarious and funny and kind of interesting, it is like 95% boring, long shots of people walking around or just environments. So this guy like monologuing to himself in very short, stilted sentences, and then you have a random cut where he goes to a strip club, but he's going there to buy a gun. And then it's a gun that he's not even going to use for the final fight. It's just a scene where he goes to a strip club, talks about why he doesn't like them, goes to get it, he's like, oh, the weapon is an extension of a man's body, buys a weapon that we don't see him use, as far as I'm aware. Pretty sure that the name it's like an edgelord production, like legit. And given the actual connotation of what edgelord means, that is ironically very fitting. There'll be a few scenes in this film where there's these transposed visuals of like a skull and crossbones over his face, or people having like machinery and weird, I don't know what you would call it, like it's like their bodies are ripped from like the dreams of H.R. Geiger or something like that. Or for our main assassin character, since he's tormented and the world's greatest assassin, there's like demon and there's the big like devil figures in the background whenever he's being like doing his thing. I do truly wonder, I have to look it up, I wonder if there was AI used in this, because there were some images that kind of, you know, when you see one of those like AI montage clips of a character or a setting like changing like a flip book. At the end of the day, aggro drift is one of the more unique concepts for the idea of how to film and showcase a film, but in my opinion, its execution completely misses the mark, and it becomes a joke. It becomes a facade of the movie that it could have been. There's a scene toward the end when he's fighting the main guy, like the main boss fight as it were, and visually speaking, it's kind of cool, like it's a little bit stylized, and I figure if it had been like that throughout the entire movie, like if this movie had tried to almost kind of mimic something like Hotline Miami, ironically enough, something like more frenetic and fast-paced and very stylized, like if they had done this but incorporated Hotline Miami or like Hardcore Henry kind of vibes, where it's, you know, actually seeing this world's greatest assassin doing just that, like excelling at his job. He could have still been a cringe edgelord or whatever, but at least it would have been more entertaining. But my guess is budget was definitely not there, because if this film was made not with infrared, I think more people would have seen it for the stinker that I truly believe that it is. I would watch this again if I was drunk with friends, because it's just bad and funny, but aggro drift is, whew, what a way to get back into reviewing films right now. A low 2 out of 5. A low 2 out of 5. Aggro drift is not good and only works in an ironic, comedic sense. I would say stream it as a joke. You don't need to see this. It's an interesting idea, and that's about as far off the ground as it gets. I had to also say, the sound mixing, like the audio design in this movie as well, like the soundtrack, the whole like 95 to 98% of this film has just constant ongoing music and soundtrack, and oftentimes it'll be playing and it'll borderline drown out the character's dialogue, what little of there is. My neck was hurting by the end of the movie, craning forward, trying to hear what our main character is talking about now, because the music is just constantly going and constantly just high enough to where it overpowers the dialogue. So that was also a thing. That's all I gotta say about Aggro Drift. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review next. Yeah, it's time to play catch up. And goodbye, travelers.